Hello everybody and welcome to another video. We are now in week 4 of the computer graphics class. And so in module 4, we've got finally creating a 3D pyramid. So now we're going to do 3D graphics this week. So I'm going to click on this practice exercise 5, which is creating a 3D pyramid in modern OpenGL. I'm going to click on the practice activity. And you're going to see the tutorials. I'm going to click on these tutorials here right now for a second. And the tutorials are going to have you use the GLM folder. So you're going to cut and paste the folder directory in. If you're using the virtual lab, it's a lot easier. But your includes are changing a little bit. So I also want to bring up, let me just open up a new window here, and I want to go into the code that I'm giving you for this so we can compare and contrast a little bit and see what's going on. So I'm going to the website, typing in our password, and so we're looking at the week 4.1 practice exercise 5. Last week, remember, there was no video. The link brings you to a tutorial website that talks about graphics transformations, textures, and you might actually want to use this in the coming weeks as well. I just thought I really didn't need a video for that one, so I figured I would just give you a nice tutorial website that hopefully you found helpful. But for this one, we do have a video, and we also have a video for next week. So I'm going to go into 4.1 source code and take a look here. And I'm going to stick it right here, kind of like do 2 screens here at a time. Push this source code up a little bit, talk about the source code, and then I'm going to talk about the solution that we're going to come up with here. Okay, so the IO stream's the same, the glue's the same, the freeglet's the same. I put glut in here where they took it out, or they didn't have it in there. I didn't actually use, okay, so here's the thing. I didn't use the GLM, the GLIM. It included headers because the library wasn't working in the virtual lab. So if you're doing this outside of the virtual lab, you might need to include these headers. If you're using the virtual lab, use my code. You don't need it. So in here we've got the window setup. This is actually kind of stripped out too. So if you take a look at the length, let's just take a few minutes to examine what this code's about here. The 3D pyramid that I'm creating, if you take a look at the length of this code, like there it is right there, it's pretty small. It's really, really small because I'm actually using the OpenGL GL libraries for this with the glut libraries actually. Which has got glue and GL in it. These guys, if you take a look at the size of this code, it just keeps going and going. Oh, it stops eventually. Oh, no, actually, it's going to keep going and going. The source code is a little bit more complicated. I'm not quite sure I would have taken this approach. You don't actually need to use a GLM. So you can use it if you want. You can test it out. If it doesn't compile on your system, don't stress over it. It doesn't have to compile on your system. It may not compile on your system. I couldn't get it to compile on my system. So I'm not really going to hold you against that. So if you can't get this tutorial code to work, then leave it alone. Just don't use it and use mine instead. Mine's going to do the same thing. Okay, so what is mine going to do? What I've got here is I've got a character array for the title. Okay, so that's this title, window title here. Slightly more manual approach to it. And I wanted to show you some variances, by the way. So this is going to initialize OpenGL graphics here. Taking a slightly different approach to it. Setting some GL clear color, enable the depth, the shader. This is more primitive stuff. You can read through it. It's heavily commented. You can read through the notes on here. And then we have a display function, similar to almost like assignment number 1 we did, where we're going to set the display itself. We're going to have the right, the back, the front, the back, the right-hand side, the left-hand side, setting a color, red, blue, green, red, blue, green, red, blue, green. Pretty much setting the same color for each one of the sides. And then we're going to have the reshape. The reshape function is what's going to provide the transformation when the XYZ angle is actually created and the perspective is enabled, it's going to actually draw it for us. Then we have main. Main's got all the stuff we've had in main. In fact, this main might actually even be the same main here. Kind of close, This one here's got a shader in it. It's got a buffer in there. It's got a lot more because it's doing a manual approach on it. So again, you can look at all this stuff. This is probably the hardest way of doing it though. But it's just giving you some different ideas and giving you a different perspective. We've got the main function. It's going to display it for us. Well, let me just take a look. Let me show you what this is actually doing. Oh, here it is here. So I'm not going to update my my Java at this point. Just going to see if I can get my little thing to work again. It is working. I don't like that little wheel. Hold on, I'm going to pause the video and reopen this up because this is frozen on me. Hold on one second. I'm going to just pause this video for a moment. Okay, I'm back. I had to exit out and come back in, and for some reason it was frozen. So what I did in the virtual lab is I just went to the website, clicked on the source code, selected what was here, came over here, I'm still working with Hello World, pasted it into my Hello World program. You can obviously change this around too. This is the same code that creates the 3D pyramid. It's the shortened version, the simplified version of the tutorial that you're looking at. And each one of the fronts, the right, the back, the sides, all of it, and it's using a 3D primitive. It's all in the red, green, and blue. So if we run it, let's just make sure I compile it here. So project, build all. It's just builder and runner. Nothing to build for hello. Oh, probably because I just built it to test it out. So let's just run it. Should bring up a little window. Yep, there it is. And there's our pyramid. So we have the shape kind of looks like, and this is reversed actually. The vertex on you can see that there's a 3D side right here where I have my mouse. Because you see the green over here. So the green and the blue is going this way, and then the red's on top. Looks like the blue's kind of mixing together in this vertex up here. But if you rotated the sucker around, then, which it's not enabled yet, that's the next, that's going to be the next lab that you're going to do. You can see how the vertexes do have the color applied to them. So you can see that they, each one of them has it. And this is a 3D pyramid. And so and I'm going to show you a 3D square in the next video as well. So the pyramid itself is created. And let's go back to the assignment, compare it with what it is you need to do for the assignment. So to complete this assignment, this is practice activity 5. You're going to run through, play with the tutorial code, see if you can get it to work. Then you're going to write commented modern OpenGL code to create a pyramid that utilizes indices and vertex array objects. Well, that's what we just did. Give each vertex on the pyramid any color. So you can see the vertexes here, and they have the two going together this way. Use the model view projection matrix to display the pyramid in a perspective angle. You can extend this activity for your final project. I'm supposed to give you some skills in terms of making 3D objects. So this is the pyramid in the assignment. This is the pyramid here. The pyramid itself here, my perspective is slightly different. I have it turned a little bit more to the right. It looks like I can see one side, two side. Here we have one side, two side, because we are looking at it on a 2D. This is a 3D pyramid. We're looking at it in a 2D display. Your monitor, this screen is a 2D screen. So we're only going to see two sides of it. So we got this side here, and we got this side over here. This guy's got kind of turned to the left a little bit more rotated. You can play with the rotation. You can sort of see it empty here without it being filled in. You can sort of see how the colors are on the different vertices. I just basically repeated the colors on the different vertices. So you could play around with the perspective of this, turn it around a little bit. You could also see if you can get the other code to work as well. What you would play around with to adjust it would be the colors that were set. Mine are identical for each side. It's doing a red, green, blue on each side. And we're doing GL triangles primitives on this. So it's going to render the pyramid consisting of the 4 triangles. And then my rotation set, and let's go back here. In the reshape, setting the viewpoint, set the viewpoint to the cover of the new window. And then the projection and the perspective is set. You can play around with that a little bit if you wanted to, which is going to change the XYZ plane and how it positions. And then this is pretty much the same as the main that was in the original assignment. So I'm basically showing you an easier way to do it than what was in here, but it is as equally as functional. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing it the way I did it. The week 4 tutorials, this is kind of more of a complicated way of doing it. So take the simplified approach. You can also see if the complicated approach actually works for you as well. So the assignment pretty much is creating the 3D pyramid for you, and it is applying the color. So how you're going to learn from this is to see if you can get the other code to work, see if you can get the pyramid created with that. If you can't, abandon that, go to this, load this up, make sure this works, and then play around with it. Maybe move the pyramid around so it's showing it like the picture here and not my picture. You can rotate around or do whatever, or change the colors maybe. Mine's pretty boring. Mine's just got the 3 colors and all the sides are the same. You could possibly make the sides different and then you might be able to see a few different things. But all the vertices are coming together to create pretty much the same triangle colors on each one of the sides. And you can see the backs and the fronts of the sides and stuff. So once you get the pyramid created, don't be afraid to paste it around, cut and paste around, change the parameters a little bit, change the perspective, and this will probably end up being a good learning experience for you. And if you do have any questions, you can always email me, but this one, believe it or not, is fairly straightforward when you look at my code. And you don't have to use all those extra libraries that were in the other one, and you don't have to do it the hard way. I'm kind of a big fan of keeping it simple and doing it the easy way. And this is the pretty easy way of putting together triangles to create a pyramid. So I'm going to leave you with that for this particular video. In the next video, we're going to move on to some more complicated concepts like moving the object. So once we start moving the object, you might actually want to play around with it and see if you're able to move. I'm not quite sure why my mouse is like that. Move the pyramid. So that'll be fun. Once we get a little bit more under our belt in terms of moving the object, you're going to be able to really have some fun with some of the shapes and things that you're going to put together. So thanks for watching. There's only one activity for week number 4, and the one activity is the practice exercise 5. You do have more things for this week. In module 4, you also have let's see, you have practice exercise 5. You also have a quiz to take. That's about it. Module 5 is virtual transformations with the camera. And it's tutorials. It's just, yeah. But for the contents of the week, this is the programming assignment for module 4. That you're going to want to complete on your own. Probably the more difficult part of the whole week. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you for the next video. Happy programming.